Hello everyone, I am the Great Zaren, and the Royal Rumble was, as I predicted it was going to be, a great pay-per-view. I think there's only, two things I was wrong about. One is I thought that Lashley and Riddle were going to have their U.S. title match. That didn't happen. Happened on Raw, and Lashley got disqualified and all that. But the other one that I was wrong about was who's going to win the Men's Rumble, and that was Edge winning the Men's Rumble, which I thought it was an interesting possibility, and it still is a very fascinating possibility. I could go on about why I'm perfectly fine with Edge winning it versus Daniel Bryan, and why Edge is being, even though he's an older superstar, I have no problem with him taking the spot of a Daniel Bryan or a Big E or some other one that's younger on the roster full time, but that'll be for another video probably. But what Edge has done is he's made it really, really interesting about what decision he will make. Everyone thinks they know, and I think I know where it might go, and I have my choice for what I prefer, but Edge has left it open-ended for now of if he's going to challenge Drew McIntyre for the WWE title, then Balor for the NXT title, or Roman Reigns for the Universal title. Each one is very, very interesting, and all are equally likely. So let's dig into each one and talk about why each one would be a really good choice. Drew McIntyre and the WWE Championship. Drew McIntyre is most definitely the man on Raw. He, as I will say once and I'll say again, is legit. I think I even said during the Rumble prediction where I thought Drew had to win because he's the man, he's legit. He just makes sense as WWE champion. And if you're going to go after a mountain to climb, Drew McIntyre's a hell of a mountain to climb. And the way that Edge works so well, Edge will be that wily, intelligent veteran knowing, I can't go toe-to-toe with this man, but I can try to see if I can maybe outsmart him, maybe go for a knee, something. Edge could find a way to make it work. And the story could be as simple as just Edge going, well, I like what you do. You are also somebody that's very respectful. He could probably do a thing of like, see some of me and you and all of that. I want that WWE title one more time, which is going to be the story of all three of just, that's Edge's thing anywhere right now is, I want that title. NXT title is a little more interesting in a moment. Drew McIntyre would be able to have one hell of a notch on his belt to go, hey, I fought against Edge at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship. Win or lose, that's still a big deal. Should Edge win that? I don't know. I feel like Drew is someone that would overpower Edge eventually. But there'll also be that distinct possibility of Edge is the ultimate opportunist. All he would need is that one opportunity, that one moment where Drew is just caught off guard. Just need that one moment where Drew maybe goes for a move and he just, falls flat on his back and that messes him up. He goes for a knee and he knees the ring post. He could find a way for Drew to mess himself up and then take advantage of it and take advantage of that opportunity. Again, do I think it should be Drew? Maybe it could be interesting. And I think most likely Drew would have to win for whatever reason, whether it's just Drew is better or maybe Randy's involved, whatever the case might be. Finn Balor in the NXT Championship. As Edge said, I've never held that title before. It's technically true the Universal title, but it's the WWE Universal versus WWE World Heavyweight titles. That's kind of a weird thing anyway, but it's 100% a lineage that he's never held before. Finn Balor has got enough of that tweener character where Finn Balor could kind of just be a big dick to Edge going, well, while you were out being injured, I was off doing great things in Japan. I was off making this brand something. They could probably throw in, grandpa and whatever lines that he wants. He can't be that bit of a heel. So it'd be a bit more of a natural matchup, a bit more interesting by default over, say, McIntyre when you have face versus face. And maybe Edge or McIntyre being a little more chippy. But with this, Balor is the tweener that he is. And he could very much just, again, say, well, you've been out for so long, you've been out of the game. You want to come for this, that's fine, but the prince will put you down. Edge doing this would add a lot of prestige. But you have this 11-time world champion, this Hall of Famer, that wants this belt. That means something. Again, Edge could go after anybody, but if he were to say, I want the NXT title, that'd be a big deal. The only reason I would say that's probably not going to happen is NXT is and isn't a third brand. Many people want to look at it as so it's maybe the best show that WWE puts out each and every week, SmackDown being a very strong competitor to it. But just certain ways that it's treated and it's handled, it's still developmental, but not. It's an odd thing, and unless they want to move NXT to another night, because the theory goes that they do and don't want to be a third brand for, well, if AEW is beating NXT in the ratings, then we don't want to, do that. Because if it's getting beaten, then that means our major brands is bad. Even though AEW could probably easily pull far better ratings than Raw or SmackDown went head-to-head with them. So it's very possible that Edge is probably going to be picking either WWE Universal title because, again, NXT is and isn't a third major brand. Even though Finn Balor versus Edge would be a fantastic match. Even though Edge versus pretty much anybody in the roster right now, especially in NXT, would be a killer matchup. Roman Reigns and the Universal Championship. Roman Reigns. Ooh, the Mafia boss. The man on SmackDown, bar none. He has his island of relevancy, he has his special counsel, Paul Heyman, he's got his underling Jey Uso, and maybe even Jimmy whenever he comes back. Roman Reigns is maybe the best character right now on all of WWE's television. Drew might be a great champion, but Roman Reigns is just next level, man. That's the kind of heel that any promoter would just be like, I want him in my territory. He'd be doing the Ric Flair thing that goes back in the 80s. Be able to walk around just being like, I am the best. Wherever I walk, it is my ring. And if you're watching SmackDown, Roman Reigns is very much calling out Edge. Because at the beginning of the show, he says, you should be asking me for permission to lose to me. I paraphrase horribly, but that's essentially what it was. Again, demanding to know Edge's decision by the end of the night. And Edge was being the opportunist that he is, being the mental mastermind that he is. Just wasn't there at first. So that angered Roman. And then he didn't make his decision at the end of the night, instead setting up for a Kevin Owens attack. So it's already an interesting thing of Edge being this ultimate opportunist already, just as he told Drew McIntyre on Raw, I'm going to weigh my options. I'm not going to make a decision immediately. And this one is also, it's a very easily straight up face Edge versus heel Roman. And it will be a very interesting story. If there is something that Edge can't do physically in the ring, even though Edge went almost an hour in the Royal Rumble, that takes a lot of stamina. If there is something that Edge can't do in the ring, if maybe Edge goes, hey, I know I can pull like a 15-minute match off, but going longer than that would be a little rough, they can just tell a great story. They can just have Roman just beating up Edge and just needling him and doing all of that. And you've already got a story being started of Roman just being very angry at Edge for he's wasting my time on my show, and he's thinking he can take this from me, take a Universal title from me, I am head of the table, all of that. And Edge could very much just cut promos about, oh, you think you're all that, huh? Maybe you could talk about how I've seen so many like you, and I've been in the ring with many other of your family, and just being the very much elder statesman that Edge still is, and the veteran that he is. He can talk about saying, I have a long view of this that you probably don't have. And Roman could counter with, I've been in this business all my life. I've been groomed for this. So you have the Edge with all of the experience versus Roman with all the family in it. Just them having this argument of which one of us is right based upon that. And then when you get to the match, I know what I said about Roman Reigns needing to lose his title somewhere major against WrestleMania. It's against Edge. If you want to talk about someone who could potentially take the title from Roman Reigns, it would be a veteran like Edge who'd be able to pick his spots. He'd be able to know how to lure Roman Reigns in, do a bit of a rope-a-dope thing, let Roman wear himself out maybe. Maybe let Roman Reigns just go for a spear or a Superman punch and crash into a barricade, or slip into a move that maybe Edge could just lock on really tight and just really damage Roman. And it's one that I could very easily see going either way, because Roman might be able to, in the end, just overpower Edge like Drew McIntyre could do. Where it's just, I'm just too good, I'm in my prime, you're not. A reason against this match could be that you would want somebody else to take that title, and maybe it should be a Daniel Bryan, because if Daniel Bryan is going to be going out on a high note, what better way than for him to take the title, and then when he loses to somebody like maybe Cesaro or Nakamura or back to Roman Reigns, you've built that person up even more. But again, Edge could also win the match too. I don't think that it's out of the realm of possibility. So, in the end, who should Edge challenge? And also, who is Edge most likely to challenge? I look at this and it's embarrassment of riches. I don't know if somebody on commentary said it. I don't know if Edge said it. Edge may have said it. Where it's an embarrassment of riches of, I have Drew McIntyre, I have Finn Balor, I have Roman Reigns. Any of them will be a great match. I think Edge versus pretty much anybody that's been through NXT and has been booked halfway competently is going to be an interesting match. Edge is probably somebody that can get a great match out of most people anyway, where he could come up with a match that works and still puts the other person over, whether he wins or loses. As I said, the way that NXT is being treated as a third brand, but not a third brand, I don't know if that's the direction that they'd go with, even though it would be a lot of prestige for the NXT title for its history to go, hey, Edge one time challenged for it. But I just don't see that direction that they're going in. So that's going to leave either Drew McIntyre or Roman Reigns. When it comes to the heel-face dynamic, I feel like it's a far easier story to have Edge go up against Roman Reigns versus Edge go up against Drew McIntyre. With McIntyre, you'd have to find that right level of respect and chippiness and to come up with a reason why. And it's far easier to come up with a reason why for Edge to want to take on the arrogant, pompous Roman Reigns over the very respectful Drew McIntyre. Again, there are still other people I still would like to see, like Daniel Bryan challenge Roman Reigns, and we still haven't had the Elimination Chamber, or I think it's Fastlane. We still have 2 months for us to figure out who's challenging who. Sheamus might challenge McIntyre for the WWE title, and I have to think about who else could possibly do it. Still not Miz, still believe Miz could legitimately be a champion. Roman Reigns still could have a couple of good contenders as well. But I feel like if Edge has to pick one of the champions, Roman Reigns is the one where it's the best built-in story. You can have the thing of Edge's veteran experience versus Roman Reigns, just family time in there. Roman Reigns just wanting to hold on to that title so desperately. And you have a great story of, if Roman Reigns wins, he could then brag about how he put down that old dog, he put down Edge, thinking he could come back and take this from me, and from me being the head of the table, and trying to take over my island and all of that. Versus Edge takes it. It's still fascinating, because then Roman Reigns could just go nuts, just be trying to beat the crap out of everyone, including Edge. So that gives Roman Reigns something to do. If he has to get it back, he's the head of the table. It's his island. He has to take it back. He can't let Edge hold on to it forever, or even for a day longer than he has to. But that's just what I think, and again, we're 2 months out, so who knows if somebody else might get a championship, and that will create yet another interesting dynamic. Like, comment, subscribe, social media, YouTube stuff, and all that, and I hope to see you in my next video.